What's happening, everybody? Greg Ehrenberg here from OddsShopper, and it is time to break down Friday's sports slate. We've got basketball to talk about. We've got a big baseball slate. Going to be covering it all here in a second. So as you come in, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want a free trial to all the tools that I'm about to show on screen, there's a link below that is going to get you 7 days totally for free to OddsShopper and the tools we have here. And it's been a really good start to the month here. I have my betting results on the screen here from the first few days of the month. So we're only 4 days into May, and so far I've turned a $2,200 profit just by following and just blindly betting a lot of the top projected EV bets over at OddsShopper. So going to pull some of those more on screen for today's slate. And yeah, these are my betting results so far. Had a good Tuesday where I made $1,500, but overall, yeah, been really profitable. And hopefully today is going to be another profitable day. So let's get the projections up on screen. And we'll start by looking at the NBA slate. Luckily, 2 NBA games today. Last couple of days, we've only had 1 game. Today, though, we've got Boston, Philly. We've got Denver, Phoenix. And something to note for today is that Joel Embiid is officially listed as questionable for tonight. I expect that for the remainder of the playoffs, whenever the 76ers are playing until Joel Embiid's knee gets better, which does not seem to be in the immediate future, he's going to be listed as questionable for these games. I fully expect Embiid to play after he played last game, but I don't think he's 100%, and I think the knee is definitely a little bit of a hindrance. So at times, he looked really good in Game 2 coming back from the knee injury, but he clearly looked like he was favoring the knee. We saw him wincing at times. He wasn't moving all that well at points and times in the game. So I do think some unders are going to make sense at times on Joel Embiid, and one of our top bets of the day right here is under 3.5 assists for Joel Embiid. That's available at Superbook. Actually, every other book has this at 2.5 right now. So we'll see where this ends up closing at other sites, but anywhere you can get Joel Embiid 3.5 assists, I do think the under there makes a good amount of sense. And then Jason Tatum over under 8.5 rebounds, pretty low number for Tatum in my opinion, especially considering the series is tied at 1-1. This is going to be a road game for Boston. I expect we're going to get big minutes out of Jason Tatum. I know last game he only played 19. He got into foul trouble. The game was also a blowout. But look at game 1, where it was a competitive game. 44 minutes out of Tatum. He pulled down 11 rebounds overall for the course of the year. He is averaging 9 rebounds per game. And now I think we're going to be looking at over 40 minutes for Tatum regularly in the playoffs in competitive games. So I like over 8.5 rebounds for Jason Tatum. And same deal here with Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown's also looking at a similar workload to Jason Tatum. So any of the overs that are projecting well for them, I'm going to take a look at. I'm going to avoid some of the unders like Jaylen Brown under 3.5 assists or Jason Tatum under 3.5 threes, just because I think the minutes can be so big that it's going to make some of the overs look better than the unders in some of these spots. Let's see what projects well from the later game. Also, one other note from this game. Yeah, over 20.5 points for James Harden. I like that as a play, especially when you consider that if Joel Embiid is not going to be quite 100%, I think more of the offense has to go through James Harden. So Harden, definitely somebody I'm going to be taking a look at. And then one other game that we have on the slate, we got the Phoenix Suns Denver Nuggets game. Jamal Murray over 22.5 points looks fairly low for Jamal Murray. You'll see some books have it at 23.5. I think that's probably where this settles, something like 23.5, maybe even 24.5 for Jamal Murray. I know this game is moving to the road. It's in Phoenix now this series, and Denver does have a massive home court advantage. Them playing on the road, we would expect a little bit less output from their core guys. But with that said, Jamal Murray for the year, or I should say for the playoffs, is averaging right around 23 points per game. And another guy that I think is looking at really significant minutes. First couple games of the series, he played 37 minutes. That game was a blowout. The game after that, he played 39 minutes. So that also wasn't really the most competitive finish. In games against Minnesota that were tighter, we did see over 40 minutes from Jamal Murray. So I like him for over 22.5 points. Another thing to keep in mind as well, no Chris Paul. Chris Paul dealing with a groin injury. He is out for, it looks like, the next 2 to 3 games. That is definitely going to hamper the defense for the Phoenix Suns in the backcourt. In particular, Jamal Murray is going to be guarded by Cam Payne a lot now as opposed to Chris Paul. So that's an easier defensive matchup for him. Let's look at baseball. What is sticking out in our baseball projections for today? Had a good hit yesterday. If you guys are in our Chalkboard channel, which is totally free to download and use, we had plus 520. I believe was the number on Matt Olson to homer and ended up coming through in the 9th inning. It's actually twice in the last week that we've had a bet like that where somebody's hit a somewhat meaningless home run, but it mattered to us. We had Matt Olson north of plus 500 yesterday. And then there was a game we had, Coors Field game, Christian Walker. It was plus 425 to homer. He also homered in the ninth inning and what ended up being a meaningless home run for the results of the game. Not for us, though. If you guys want to check out our Chalkboard channel, there's a link for it below, and it is totally free to download Chalkboard. And yeah, post additional bets in there all the time and sweat out bets with you guys. We had some Kevon Looney unders yesterday. Those were fun with him playing limited minutes. So go check out Chalkboard. It's totally free. All right, baseball. What is projecting well? Boy, Johnny Brito. He was so well regarded just a few starts ago. If you guys play DFS, Brito was super popular. Now I've gotten to a point where his strikeout prop is over under 3.5 and it's plus money on over 3.5. I just think that the market has gotten too low on Brito. I know his last couple starts have not been great, but this is a bet that we've projected to win north of 50% of the time at plus 110 odds. Yeah, give me Johnny Brito over 3.5 strikeouts. Also, Max Muncy, who's just been incredibly good to start the season. We saw last year, Max Muncy had probably the worst year of his career since becoming a full-time starter, and he's bouncing back in a big way. He's the current MLB leader in home runs, and he currently has an over-under of 0.5 total bases at minus 120. We have this winning nearly 60% of the time. All you need is one hit out of Max Muncy, and this ends up cashing, so I like that. By the way, something similar, former MVP, who looked like his career was just kind of a one-hit wonder, and then he fell off, Cody Bellinger. Is Cody Bellinger back? He's been good this year. Like actually really good. Not MVP level good like he was in the past, but he's back to being a plus big league player. And just need one hit out of him today against the Marlins as well. 0.5 is the over-under for total bases. So I like that look there for Cody Bellinger. And then here's a good-looking strikeout prop on Luis Castillo. He's had a really good start to the year. He is currently, if I'm not mistaken, like third or fourth in the betting odds for the American League Cy Young, and 6.5 strikeouts, fairly low number for Luis Castillo considering his early season results. Not the best matchup in the world against the Houston Astros. Well, the Astros offense hasn't been as good this year as it's been in previous years, and you have in Luis Castillo, a guy who was a 1.82 ERA, a 3.23 expected ERA to start off the year, and whenever he's pitching well, the strikeouts always come as well. So Luis Castillo, last start on the road in Toronto, we only managed 4 strikeouts, but the starts for that, 8 strikeouts, 9 strikeouts. I expect a big year out of Luis Castillo, and 6.5 strikeouts I think is a little bit too low for today. On the flip side, this pains me. Corbin Burnes, arguably my favorite pitcher in baseball because I won a pretty big bet on him a couple years ago to win Cy Young. It was about $40,000 in total on Corbin Burnes to win the National League Cy Young. So I love this guy. I definitely am biased towards him. But with that said, it does look like he's not quite the same pitcher now as he was when he won the Cy Young. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Like, I don't think that this is an age issue or anything like that. But I do think that teams have just maybe caught up a little bit to his tendencies because you've got this guy now in Corbin Burnes who is nearly unhittable for a couple of seasons. Now this year he's a 4.01 ERA, a 3.77 expected ERA. His walk rate is up to 8%, which is way up from the last couple of years, 6.4 and 5.2% walk rates. His strikeout rate this year is 19.7%. Something is not quite right with Corbin Burnes. I love this guy, but I'm going to have to bet his unders for the foreseeable future unless the sportsbooks start to make a change in how they're pricing him because he's just not generating the same strikeouts and swing and misses right now. So hurts to say it, but I'm going to be betting an under on Corbin Burnes today. Let's go and look at PrizePicks. So we'll see what's standing out here in PrizePicks parlay. So one of the other tools that we have here in OddsShopper is the ability to build parlays. We have it for PrizePicks, so we got it for pick'em sites. You guys could see here, you could flip to other pick'em sites, and then also we have it for FanDuel, DraftKings, all the other sports books. So we'll be opening that up in a second. But let's take Steph Curry out. And yeah, because Curry's game is tomorrow. So here we have a 5-leg flex parlay on PrizePicks. Jamal Murray over 22.5 points. Garrett Hampson for 1 total base. Just need him to get on base once with a hit. Kevin Durant over 28.5 points. That does look like a fairly low number on PrizePicks. Then a couple other props we already talked about. Luis Castillo over 6.5 strikeouts. Corbin Burnes under 6.5 strikeouts. This 5-leg flex parlay on PrizePicks has a 14% expected ROI. Let's go to FanDuel. Yeah, let's build a FanDuel parlay now. Click on FanDuel. See, these are all the sports books that we currently have data for in our parlay builder. So a lot of the books covered. If you guys are looking to build a parlay, we've got you covered here in OddsShopper. Take out some of the basketball props for tomorrow. And that was a team prop. Here is a 3-leg parlay. Yu Darvish under 6.5 strikeouts, and then the Luis Castillo line again, the Corbin Burns line again on FanDuel. This 3-leg parlay plus 569 odds, 16% expected win rate, good for a 12% expected ROI. So you guys are looking for a fun parlay to place over on FanDuel. This is one that projects well for us in OddsShopper today. And that is going to bring us through all my favorite bets of the morning and my first look at OddsShopper. If you guys want more access to these tools and data, 7-day free trial available to you. No risk at all. Just sign up clicking on the link below. Other than that, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't done yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have any more questions for myself, download the Chalkboard app. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll be back here on Monday.